throughout. Responses engine 5, engine 3, engine 1, ladder 3, ladder 2, rescue 1. We've got full showing. Division 1, you're on location, box 23, reporting smoke show on 727.
JobTlks podcast members do not represent the cities and towns they work for in their views and opinions. They are views and opinions that belong to us only. We are not here trying to be the experts or tell people how to do their job. Our goal with this show is simply to facilitate knowledge sharing. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another session of JobTlks Podcast After Dark. Welcome back.
I didn't know we were supposed to rehearse. I didn't get the memo.
Yeah. No, we're at 1-900 JobTlks. We will show you our feet. All right, sorry. Welcome back. Episode number 17 today. As always, please follow and like us on our social medias at JobTlks, JobTlks, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all your favorite streaming platforms. Please, 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 no matter if it's streaming or YouTube where you view or listen to us, please subscribe to our channel. Helps us out tremendously. If you haven't gotten your shirt yet, shame on you.
Shame.
For shame.
Boo that man.
Check out our site, and we'll have some information for you to do that, which helps us fund this wonderful production from Wilco Media. That said, let's get into it.
All right. Welcome back, everyone.
And have a good day. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. We have a special guest in the studio today, Kaya. Many of you know her. Some of you don't. If you don't know her, you should, because she's the best doggo in the world. Phoebe is also awesome as well.
Fun fact at my rehearsal dinner. So my wife is a nerd. If you haven't met her, don't know that. So we did a trivia night for our rehearsal dinner. All of our friends were invited, and one of our questions was, who's the best pup or dogger in the world? And anyone that didn't say their own dog was immediately banned from the wedding.
But what if they said Dante? They're going to ban them if they say Dante is the best pup or dog.
If you don't think your dog's the best dog in the world, shame on you. Listen, Dante was the best dog in the world. Yeah. But if you don't think your dog's the best dog in the world, shame on you.
I don't see past my dog. Phoebe's the best.
Yeah. Dogs are better than humans, hands down.
That's fair.
All right. Anyway, sorry.
Today, so Kaya's here today to offer her deep philosophical thoughts for this episode. So we'll see where the day takes us.
She's going to review that chew toy.
Review the bone. She's had that one for a while, so she's pretty destructive, and that one's lasted a while. Pretty so, typically on JobTlks, a lot of you guys don't see the behind the scenes stuff as far as like the prep that goes into an episode, generating the content, doing the research. It's important to us on this show that we keep things as authentic and unscripted as possible. We generally do have some like guiding principles, like previous episode, we'll put in a lot of research into self-rescue, and you can see the benefit of that is creating good content, or what at least we feel is good and informative content, which is what we strive toward, at least facilitate a conversation. But today, I wanted to keep it as unscripted as possible, so I just have literally some bullet points. But I wanted to get into one of those, like, what I hope to be like a deeper philosophical conversation that I've had with both of you at previous junctures of life, and that I think a lot of people have in general, which is kind of like balancing how do you balance your professional ambition with like your personal responsibility, and it's like to your family, to your friends, and to yourself, and also like beyond that, what do we, like some of the topics, like what do we define success as? Like, what does that mean? Is that success, career-wise, or is that success at home? So I wanted to dive into some of those like deeper philosophical stuff of like something that I think a lot of people that are would classify themselves as like high performers struggle with, which is like attempting to achieve balance in life, which is easier said than done, right? So thank you, Kaya. So you're already getting amped up about the topic, understandably. So the first thing I will ask you guys is a broad question. And I also wanted to loop Nick into this episode as well, because he comes from some pretty high-performing industries. and I trust and value your opinion, and I think that this is a topic that is not specific to the fire service, but I think it's anybody that's like ambitious about who they are, where they come from, and where they want to be struggles with.
Nick has his own podcast called the Settle Down Podcast, which is online, and they actually have an episode about what defining success. So after you check this one out, you can check that one out too.
Yeah. Disclaimer, do not watch my show with your children.
Yeah, Nick's podcast is...
it's a little off the wall and completely uncensored.
NC17 or whatever.
Yeah, YouTube.
NC17, whatever, yeah.
But do not watch it with your kids.
Yeah, it's very different, but that episode is about what defines success. So anyway.
All right, so I guess the first question I have for you guys while I'm battling a 1-year-old velociraptor is when I ask you what success is, what do you, like when they say, like, John, what is success to you? Like, what does that look like? What is a successful life to you?
So in my last life, when I worked 6 days a week, a few nights a week, and just kept plugging in, if there was a time slot open, I plugged something into it. I just wanted to stay busy. And the more opportunities that I would seek, the more opportunities that would pop up, and it seemed like it was like sky is the limit. And then I realized that although I was doing a lot of different things, I really didn't have balance in my life. And so my ultimate goal, and beyond that, I really didn't, there wasn't like, I didn't feel like I was like, even though I was making good money, I didn't really feel like I was gaining anything from my job, right? I wasn't like necessarily happy. So I knew a lot of firefighters that were very happy with their lives and their jobs, and I said, oh, well, this is a great way to maybe seek some balance. So success for me went from a money avenue to a time avenue. And so, now I have more than enough time to enjoy my friends, my family. I actually have downtime. If I want to sit around and do nothing, I can do that too. But that was where I defined success. And sometimes I sit back and I go, oh man, I could be working another job. I could be making more money. I could have this, I could be working towards bigger goals and things like that. And then I have to like settle myself back down, bring myself back down to earth and remember what I was looking for when I got into this job. And the big thing for me was going to be, balance. It wasn't money. Because if you want to be a firefighter and you think you're going to, be a millionaire or you're going to make, the crazy kind of money you can make in private industry and things like that, then, you got to go get a different job.
It's not the place.
No, so for me, success went from money to just time well spent. And, foregoing some of the things that maybe I would have chased earlier on, and then living within my means, and then, just constantly remembering that the success that you're looking for is here. It's the time that you now have to spend doing the things you want with the people you want to do them with.
Yeah. I think it's a really long-winded answer for me.
That's what we're looking for.
We'll cut to the chase.
No, I will cut to the chase. I think success is very individual. I think success depends on you and your goals, and I think success changes over time. As an example with John, is what you view important, when you're 15 is probably not what you're going to view as important when you're 45. At the end of the day, success for me is if I'm on my deathbed that I can say that I had a life well spent, whether that be providing for my family or just being a decent human being or whatever the case is, whatever is important to me at that time. But I think that's success, and I think it's hard because people are like, oh, being successful is making a lot of money or having this or having that, and like there are a lot of people that don't have those things, and like I wouldn't consider them unsuccessful people. You know what I mean? Like also people develop like personal wealth from different sources. Like personal wealth might be providing something more than you had as a kid to your children, or personal wealth might just be like providing love and support to whoever, or personal wealth might be that your greatest passion in life could be your career, which would be pretty cool. And I think like we're pretty close to that, so I think it's a really long-winded, complicated answer that's not like an easy definition of one thing or another. But I think, like, again, at the end of the day, like if I'm on my deathbed and I feel like I did the right thing most of the time and treated people well and was a decent human being, that's going to be, personal success for me. I mean, that doesn't mean that I don't want money or, things like that. It just I don't think, like, when you're laying on your deathbed, you can't take it with you. So.
Me?
Yeah.
So I did talk about this on my show a little bit. Well, we did an hour on it, basically. But, yeah, I think it's definitely the deathbed thing. And I don't mean like a bucket list, like I'm not a fan of skydiving, as an example, right? So
You
like
should
when
be.
you,
That makes my heart sad.
I'm sorry, I just don't.
It's the most incredible.
Falling out of a plane is not my idea of fun.
You're not falling out, you're jumping out.
Yeah, that's not. My body would just say no, and then I just wouldn't. So I guess
Nick shits himself and then falls out of the plane.
yeah, I would. And people would say, "Nice parachute." I'd say, "No, that lump in my pants is not a parachute. That is shit." And yeah, that's how it would go. But whenever you think of like living your life with no regrets or whatever, people go to like bucket list type scenarios, and then think to themselves like, "Oh, I never went skydiving. I never did this and that," and that's just not where my mindset is at. You know what I mean? For people that live in like northern Maine and like maybe they don't necessarily have a job except to like take care of the land that they're on or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that could be considered their career, if that makes sense. So I think, me well, I'm big on the health, wealth, and happiness, and I think all three of them combined create success. And I think having respect for what other people consider success and realizing that, like, I make it a goal of mine to I'm very opinionated. I don't know, for those of nobody who's listening knows me, I don't think, but you guys know me.
You're always there on the question of the day. So.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I do have opinions about a lot of stuff. I would just say that, like, one thing that I strive to do that I didn't used to do is be respectful of other people's answers when it comes to stuff like, what do you consider success? In doing so, it adds to my own success, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think there's like limitations, like if people's definition of success like tramples other people to get there, then I'm not super respectful of that. But like,
no, what I'm saying though is like, if you like, let's say I want to be a millionaire, Jeff Bezos, like Amazon. Okay, like that's great, but that may not have any like inkling of what John wants to do and what he considers himself to be successful as. So what I'm saying is, for me to then tell John that he'll never be successful unless he does what I'm doing is me being a
I think
dick.
Success is very individual.
I mean? Yeah, super. So yeah, but no, my definition of success is being able to die and laying on my deathbed and being like, I did everything I gave it my all, whatever I wanted to do, whatever I loved to do, and I respected the people around me, and they view me as like, yeah, he was a good guy. That's it.
100%.
You got a long way to go.
I know. I'm working on it. Work in progress. Hopefully that means I got a long way till I'm dead. So
There you go.
I think a lot of it comes down to trying to like establish or like leave behind like a positive legacy. It seems to be like a common thread, and then like finding fulfillment and understanding that like these material objects like don't maybe necessarily matter. And like one of the things that I like perpetually struggle with is finding balance in my life. But if I were to it'll probably be the struggle, and I think that's the struggle a lot of people, whether it's the fire service, police, fire, EMS, the military, any like private industry that like requires like a high degree of performance. Like for me, like I sometimes like I don't know like what success like for me looks like. So since I was a kid, I wanted to be a fucking fireman. Like, that's it, right? And like, the military has become like a big part of my life, but I reflect more on legacy now that like my career in the Army is coming to an end by choice. And I could go down a wormhole, but like I think that like I reflect more on legacy, and to me, like, success is being able to look back and feel that you've positively influenced your organization. That, it's cliche, you've left it maybe a little bit better than you found it. You've learned and you've grown as a person, both personally and professionally, and you're better for having been a part of that organization, and that organization is better for you having been a part of it. So I'd like to think that I've done that in the Army. I've made plenty of mistakes. I've I've had plenty of successes. But similar to what John said, I think like spending as much time as I was able to spend in Africa and some different countries, like some of the most wealthy people I've ever met, and the definition of wealth to me is like feeling fulfilled, have had absolutely fucking nothing.
Yep.
They had nothing. And like they were so much like more fulfilled and happy and like grateful for like the small opportunities that they've had. So that's where like my my introspection on like what the definition of success is and like what I'm trying to do with my life and my career and the people that are around me, and where that's going to take me. So like, and now that I'm, I have like a budding family, I have a small child. Sorry.
You're embarrassing me, Dad.
Yeah, it's something that I struggle with. So like defining like what is my personal and professional success. Like I feel like I am naturally inclined by nature to like, I could work at Walgreens and I'm going to want to be the best fucking Walgreens employee that ever existed. I don't know if I will be, but I want to be. So like I struggle very much with, I want to take every class. Like I want to be good at rope. I want to be good at hazmat. I want to be good at Marine unit. I want to be on like the tactical medic team. Like I want to do it all because I don't want to look back and be like, oh, I left something unturned. But also I need to have balance and be present in life, because I don't want my other and arguably most important team, which is my wife.
It's not JobTlks?
No, unfortunately, it's not.
I quit.
I'm out.
Everyone just walks off. My wife and my, soon-to-be child and children, I need to be present on the most important team of all. So that's something I struggle with. But
I think that balance and success are different, but not exclusive. So like having balance, finding balance is important to success. You know what I mean? Like if you are constantly and we've had these conversations. So a big thing, like I think I talked about with the show with Jason Patton, and we've had conversations about is like, I did some what I consider pretty cool shit when I was young. And like I have struggled to find that level of like cool shit to do through my whole adulthood after I got out. You know what I mean? And so like I became an EMT and then a medic. I didn't grow up as like the kid that always wanted to be a firefighter. I mean, now that I'm in it, like same as you, like I want to be the best I can be. Became a firefighter, and then it was like, okay, like different departments, like what is it like? I feel like you have to like, my personality is that I'm and you can ask my wife, is like I'm very addictive. When I jump into things, I jump into them 100% or not at all, and then sometimes I get into them and then I realize that wasn't, and then I go back to 0%. And so like that's a constant struggle for me, and I know we've had the conversation about that too. So I think finding balance is important to being successful, because if you never find balance, you'll never feel fulfilled. And
I don't know about that.
For me personally, I would say that if I don't find a balance in my life, I'll never feel fulfilled. If I don't at least come to the realization that like the grass is not greener every time, or like being busier is not always better, being richer is not always better. Like,
no, I know what you're saying, but I take balance and I throw it right out the effing window, and it's to find fulfillment, because I'm looking for like whatever I'm doing at that moment. I'm looking to like fully experience it and immerse myself and become proficient or good at it. And it's only when like I find that I've like mastered some material that I can set back and then start to refocus on some other things. So sometimes like in finding balance, you have to put a lot of effort into something. And I'm going to tell you right now that I am probably the least organized person that I know. It's been like a life goal of mine to get organized. But I'm
Do you wear the same socks?
just a lazy piece of crap. Yes, I do wear the same socks, unlike you nerd. But you know, I'm not that organized, and I am not balanced at all. I am like 100 or nothing.
I think those are different
And you're
things,
still
though.
one of the best men I've ever met.
I love you.
But I think those are
appreciate ya.
different. Like I am completely disorganized as a human as well. I just mean like I do the same thing as you. Like when I jump into something, I want to do 100%. I don't until I realize like either I've gained what I wanted out of it or like I didn't like it as much as I could. But to me, like that's also like a feeling of never being fulfilled and successful because there's and it's not that you should stop reaching for knowledge and learning things. It's just like it's just I'm trying to find something that I once had. Maybe that's the difference. Like I'm trying to like find something that fulfills me in the same way as like being shot at and rocking a machine gun in the desert does. And there won't ever
No,
be
you're
that
always going to
again.
reach for your high.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's for me what I'm trying to say is like I constantly want to find something that's going to fulfill me in the same way. And the fact is, and like we've had this conversation, there is nothing that's going to fulfill you in the same way, and you can't go back to doing those things. So like then what do? You know?
So I have a question for you on that. And
Yeah.
it's very interesting to kind of sit back here and listen to the three of you on every episode, but particularly when you like have conflicting views or differing views. Like you two are married, one with a kid on the way and one with a kid, and you're not married and you don't have kids, correct?
Correct.
That you know
That
of.
we know of.
Right.
Allegedly.
So I immediately when you said like you need the balance and all the other stuff, when you like spoke, I was like right behind. I'm like, yep, go for it. Like speak on it, because it's like it's one of those things where like I'm not married, I don't have kids either. This is my life, not just JobTlks, but like this studio and everything is what
99%
I'm focused on.
JobTlks.
It's a
So
lot.
much so he's going to start going pro bono.
Word on the street.
Let's get on a different street then. Make a left turn in 500 feet. So no, but listen, I am focused right now on building. I'm not going to miss family events and stuff over it. My question to you is, when like there's being successful on your deathbed, right? Considering your life successful, and then there's chasing the high throughout your life. Legitimate question, and I'm definitely putting you on the spot with this. So just
Is this for me specifically?
specifically for
Okay.
you, would you trade your child/family for like we said earlier, goes to Christmas past type deal, right? Comes down and says you can have whatever you want. There's always a caveat. The caveat being you have to take that balance of your life away, but you will, no matter what, you will have that high again. Would you trade your family for it?
No.
Hell
Then you're-
no.
So my point with that question is that your family, in some way, should be. That's your answer there. You know what I mean? Like they should be like when you look at your kid and when you're with your family, it's a reason. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't. I'm saying like it's a good reason to start to engage and feel that high a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that I feel very fulfilled with my family. It's just I can't really explain it. Honestly.
You just wanna have fun.
It's not just have fun. Like it's a very specific thing that you like
Experience.
you get to experience, and then like you can never quite turn it off again. You know what I mean? I think that's the thing with it. But the other thing is like talking, like Barry said, like you want to do rope, you want to do this, marine, you want to do all this stuff, and I'm the same way. But you also say all the time you only have so much bandwidth, and so you have to. So I guess maybe this kind of answers your question too. Is like, yes, I want that, and like. I've now kind of come to terms on my own about like how that happens, and like that's not a thing that will happen again, so I have to move on from it.
Sure.
But you only have so much bandwidth, so you have to choose, okay, I want this and I want this and I want this. What are the things that I can realistically strive and attain?
Right.
and what's actually going to fulfill me more, because that high is like something impressive that'll never happen again for me, and like something that my brain will always want. But it also came with losing friends and all the shit that there's a reason that I don't do that, or I chose not to do that for my whole life too.
Right.
So you know what I mean? So like, it's not every pro comes with a con.
So the only thing that I'm saying with it is like, remember in those moments, because we all have moments of like, God, I wish I could whatever, and like if you go too far, not you, I'm saying anybody, if we go too far with those moments of like, I wish my life was like what it was then, we tend to only gloss it over with like, it was so sick, it was cool, and we forget those like missed family events, friends, things like that, and the very bad times, especially in a situation like yours where I'm sure there were times that you do not wish you could go back to.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So, I mean, I know you're not saying your life sucks or anything like
Oh,
that.
not even a little bit.
Exactly.
No.
I'm just saying, though, like, there are, I don't want to say everything happens for a reason. It's not like that. It's just like,
No, but you gotta, like, to Barry's point, you gotta strike that balance of like understanding yourself, understanding your life, understanding what, like, that may seem important in the back of my brain, but what's really important to me is my wife and my kid and my family and the show and my career, and like, you know what I mean? So
sure, which is why it's your favorite word, Barry. It's an ever-evolving thing. Success.
Barry says evolving a lot.
Perhaps too much.
Barry does like evolving very much.
It's a good word.
Very much.
Very much.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And like we've had this conversation. I've had this conversation with you guys like on some pretty deep levels, like multiple times. But like for you specifically, like I like can understand and like empathize with your position. I didn't experience combat to the intensity that you did, and your generation, and specifically like company and unit. But like I very much maintain like that is a. I mean, I'm always going to push back because you're one of my best friends, but. That is a chapter in your life that is very formative, that will inform you as a firefighter, as a leader, and as a father, and, you know, bringing up Dylan, and potentially, you know.
You didn't change his name? Schmillen?
Oh.
Schmillen Cry T?
Dylan. Chillin'.
Chillin'.
And maybe, you know, Chillin' 2.0, Chillin' 3.0. You know,
Relax.
Yeah.
I've also found balance in enjoying my sleep.
But that's a chapter that, like, in that, like, for me, like, that chapter is coming to an end, and like achieving balance of, like, we talk about, like, I've always called it like the bandwidth dilemma, right? So like I've had my hand in like a bunch of pots, right? Like the Army pot, the firefighting pot, and I classify as like the emergency medical services pot is like a different, it's part of the fire service, but like you only, and someone that I really respect had once told me, he's like, dude, like you only have so much bandwidth in life, and like you can choose to do a few things very well or be divided and conflicted for the rest of your life.
I choose divide and conflict.
Yeah. No, and I there's some people that I think that are like really good at being like a jack of all trades, but I've realized that like I want, like, dude, if I could, like, I would like stay, you know, like I'm always like, you're like chasing the dragon,
yeah,
right?
Man.
And like that exists in the fire service, it exists in the military, it exists in everything. Like I'm like, oh, like if I just stay in, like I know if I re-enlist, like right now, legitimately, like if I re-enlist, I know I'm gonna get SLC and make Sergeant First Class, and I'm like, oh, like if I, you know, make Sergeant First, I'd love to retire as a Sergeant First Class, and then like I'm like, well, then, you know, I'll have like 8 years left. Like I'll probably get out as a Master Sergeant. And, like you're always like chasing this dragon, but like to what detriment, right? Like I've come to the realization, like I can't be totally invested in the fire service and be totally invested as a senior leader in the Army.
No,
right?
It's
and
not
like
possible.
some people might be able to do that, maybe.
No, there's definitely people who can, and
it's not me.
I look at those people and I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah, and then, you know, and maybe those people are on a different level, but there's always like, but maybe their family life is just complete shit. Like maybe they have a son and a daughter and they're just completely not fucking, they're not present in their life.
Again, you have bandwidth. Like maybe you could be totally good at fire and totally good at the military, but you're giving something up somewhere.
100%, and that's why,
like, if those are the two things that are important for you, then that's your balance. You say, like, this is what I'm going to do. Like, I don't want whatever the case is. I don't have these other hobbies or whatever. Like,
and my thing as far as like the Army is like, I would rather go out on a high, like to where like, hey, this is like a consensual breakup. Like, I'm looking at the Army. I'm like, hey, you know what? We had some good times. I'm gonna miss you. You know, maybe every once in a while.
It's not you, it's me.
Yeah, maybe every once in a while, we can grab a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
But like, hey, like, you go this way, I'll go that way. I had some good times, and this chick over here is red. She's in a red dress.
Penelope.
See,
Penelope.
that's my style, man. It's because I have to scratch every itch. Like when someone approaches like you're like, hey, dude, we should go skydiving, and I'm like, yeah, that seems really cool, but and I probably will take you up on it one of these times. But the reason why I hold off for as long as I can on doing some things is because I would literally just be like, all right, find my own parachute. Hey, what are those squirrel suits? Sign me up, get me one. I'll even get my own plane. Come on, we're going all the way. And so I do that with everything that I get into. So it's like, as I get older, trying to pick up less hobbies.
So you say that you're throwing caution to the wind, but you're really not.
No, like
you are balancing yourself.
I in a sense, like, but realistically, like at any given moment, it's just funny in my life. I've had people be like, dude, you do that too, right? It's like I just know a little bit about a lot, and I usually know just enough information about stuff to get myself into some trouble.
Yeah. It's funny, like you use that analogy with Sky, because I am exactly the same way.
Yeah.
Like and it gets expensive too.
Oh yeah,
because you can't. But not just
Big
sky.
time.
Like
Look around you.
just
guys.
to get
It's
to get
expensive.
into any hobby, because I'm the same way. Like I don't want to do it partially. Like
Right.
I want to get the good equipment. I want to do the whatever. I want to like be good at it or do it. And then the unfortunate part is like, on my end, is like it doesn't scratch that itch, and then I'm like, all right, that was fun, and then I spent $10,000.
Have you done free fall though?
Accelerated free fall, or which is
program?
when they hold on. I haven't finished the program. No.
Yeah. So I did finish the program. I didn't get like further along in my progression, unfortunately. But I was at the point where I was like 15, 16.
Oh, you can jump on your own?
Yeah, no, I was jumping on my own.
Does that expire?
It does. So I never there's your rating to be like completely like, hey, be free, like to jump somewhere outside of like where you took the accelerated free fall course, and I didn't finish that.
It's not crazy expensive to do the course to get certified. It's like $2,000 or $3,000 or something.
No, it was
like
it cost me like $1,800 at the time.
Yeah.
I've never felt like more alive.
I will say, so Nick, just hear me out real quick on the skydiving thing.
No.
Just hang on.
Listen, can I tell you? I'd be there. Okay,
Yeah.
I'd go to the field. I'd strap GoPros to your heads. I'd have a camera on the ground waiting for you to fall and be there. You know what I mean? And I'd speak at your funerals when you go splat. That's all. That's fine.
Very safe, actually.
You're
Statistically speaking, you have a much greater chance of being involved in a fatal car accident on the way to skydiving than you do of having.
Hang on. What I was going to say is the jump is fun, but it's
That's the part I don't like.
I know, no, but that's not the part I love. The part I love is when your chute opens and it is dead silent,
Completely quiet,
and it's just you, and you like have this whole view of the world.
So can I be
It's
honest
like
with
a really
you?
cool
I feel
thing.
like I'd rather, if we could get immediately to that part, then I'd be happy. It's the jump and everything up to the chute opening that I don't like.
That's why you just got to strap yourself to somebody that's not going to let you not
Do
go.
I'm not trying to go off topic too crazy. You know what a paramotor is?
Yeah.
It's like a big fan
Yeah.
on the strap. I would buy one tomorrow. Like I would love to do that.
I really want to do wingsuits. Like that's my.
Okay, so
that's
that's
wingsuits.
the
So
X-Wing.
bad.
So again, not a fan. Not a fan. But the idea of like being really high up doesn't bug me. I would do like hot air balloon. I love flying. I wish I had my pilot's license. It's like a guilty like wish of mine. I wish I had my PPL. But yeah, no, it's the jump, that free falling. Nope.
Do you get the
No.
butterflies? Is that the problem?
Yeah, it's just a tremendous anxiety, fear feeling. I just do not like, and it's not even heights, it's falling. I don't like falling.
Yeah.
I don't like falling over, like standing up and falling. I don't like falling.
Nobody likes that.
You know?
I fell yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah, I was.
How was it?
I was working on a deck, and I was doing some stairs.
Yours?
Yeah, and I took some treads off below me, and then I went up to get like one last tread off, and I forgot that I took those treads off, and I literally fell. I stepped back and went like down 5, like the equivalent of 5 steps, straight back on my elbow, and my back knocked the wind out of me. Just laid down on the ground for
I
a
think
minute.
Good for you.
Sucked.
I would have
Got a big old bruise on my ass. Horrendous.
This is way off in left field, and then we'll reel it back into the deep philosophical conversation we're having. I think the most pain I've ever, like, life questioning was when you and I went snowboarding.
Oh, yeah.
And I was convinced I was competent enough to...
I'm going to grind this rail,
Yeah.
dude. All right, Barry.
Dude, just like the impact, the hard packed snow. Well, 2 things happened. One, like, I was on the rail and my like legs and I just shins. Life questioning pain.
It's like one of those ones where you're like,
and-
just kill me, just like
Yeah,
knock me
just
out.
end it.
I just want to be dead.
John has it on film, and like the second one, like I went up and then just on my back,
Ugh.
and like you look at it, you're like, dude, that's like 2 feet. But I was like, eh.
So,
Yeah.
and this isn't... I don't want to ruin future sponsorships, so Cannon Mountain, please sponsor us. But on
Cannon is mine.
arguably probably one of the worst mountains to go snowboarding on because it gets so skied off and icy so
does.
fast, and it's an open face and the wind rips across it and it freezes everything over, and the terrain park that Barry was on was probably a little steep. Now, I'm just saying,
Competency wise, I wasn't there either.
it's probably mostly Barry's fault, but
As most things
there
are.
there were more
There were
forgiving
complicated.
times in
The
mountains
operational
that he could've tried
realities that we
on.
faced that day
Yeah.
were also not my favorite.
No,
I've
no.
been
recognize-
snowboarding a handful of times.
My
We
recog-
went ice boarding most of
Yeah.
the time. Yeah.
I went a
Well-
couple times when I was like 13, and then when I was in the Army, as you usually do, you have a complex that you're just better at everything than you really are.
Yes.
And I went to the
Yeah, that's just a 173rd thing.
I went to the Italian Alps, having snowboarded a grand total of probably 3 times my whole life before that. And
You probably had sick gear though.
no, it was all rental, and I have big feet, and so I had my feet shoved in a boot that was literally like 4 sizes too small.
Like Dumb and Dumber coming out of the ski shop.
and my buddy, who was a good snowboarder, went down a triple double black eagle diamond or whatever they are, and I was like, no problem. I rolled from the top of the mountain to the bottom of the mountain.
It's tomahawk.
And the next day, dude, I felt like I got hit by a train. It was awful. It was terrible. But anyway, but I think-
but the appraise were good.
but
Yeah.
so speaking of that though, like hobbies are important, like in striking a balance, like striking a balance in your family, striking a balance in work. Like if you are just 100% into one thing, I feel like it's hard to I don't know. I feel like you need to have perspective outside of whatever it is that you're doing and trying to be good at to be better at it.
But like maybe it's my personality. So like the existential question for me is like, will I ever achieve balance, or am I always just going to be in the pursuit of achieving balance? Because I'll be doing things and immediately I'm very much like a backwards planner, and maybe that's like born out of the necessity of my life, or like the way that like my life, the path that I've
Barry
followed.
texts us about backwards planning at least twice a week.
Dude, because like
Right,
I'm
at
already
least.
Mostly
like
just about the next time we're going to talk about backwards planning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
the
guys,
problem
I
is
have a
that he's dealing with
backwards
2 disorganized guys who are like,
yeah.
yeah, sure.
But like I'm constantly thinking of like the next step. Like what is next? Like I've done this, so like now I can do this. And like I need to like, it's not just balance, but like the concept of like being present. Like I'll be like with family or like mowing my lawn and like thinking about these like high level things, like, okay, like, well, if I take the lieutenant's exam, but maybe I shouldn't take the lieutenant's exam because like statistically, like I could get my master's degree, and that, you know, like maybe
Yeah.
I should get more
Right.
like, dude, just like fucking slow down and just enjoy like being outside in the summer with my best friend who's a dog, just chilling and getting in the way, and then I have to like just enjoy like being present, or like spending time with my family, and like putting my phone down and not thinking about like job talks, like what's the next evolution. of JobTlks, or like
Yeah.
if I don't retire as like, dude, I have this goal, and I'm fine with like outing myself on this show for like I wholeheartedly believe that if like I do not retire as a captain, I will have done something wrong.
Yeah.
And like that
Until you're a lieutenant and you realize that you love the job.
Yeah, but like then like, you know, guys are gonna hear that and be like, oh, Barry just outed him. But like, dude, like, cause like I am never like satisfied with like my current like position. So I'm like, okay, like I'm a firefighter. Like I want to be a really like good one. Like in my organization, like having conversations about the grass is always greener. My organization's not perfect. Oh, should I go to a different one? No, like it's my responsibility to fix the organization, or at least like push. I can't fix everything, and like no organization is perfect. They never will be, right? But like I want to be a part of like a positive, like looking back, I can say like, hey, like my organization wasn't perfect. There's a lot of great things about my organization. There's a lot of great people here, and I want to contribute to the positive narrative, like to the positive narrative in the fire service.
Can you not do that at your current position?
He does.
I can.
So
and that's
let me say one thing. Wanting to affect positive change is good. Your thought process on like never being satisfied, you need to like maybe talk to somebody about that.
that's why I'm here.
No, I'm serious because
like
that's
like a professional.
no, but that's
That's why this is it.
this is no, but this is the conversation we've had because it's
Yeah.
the same.
Isn't that what that coach is for?
Yeah.
Or
It's
that-
the same. It's the same issues that I've had.
Yeah.
Part of it, I think, is you might have ADD, but like there is a point where it's not just like personality trait becomes an issue, because if you're constantly never satisfied, you'll never
Maybe it's
you'll
not-
never be satisfied. But also like it's hard to like progress if you can't like get into like a groove and be like, okay, like I'm good, I'm here, I'm good, and then move on. to
Maybe
the
it's
next thing.
not that I'm not satisfied, because like I'm incredibly happy with like where I am in my life. I feel incredibly fortunate to be on the department that I'm on, surrounded by like so many like working, even with, like my side gig, like working with like so many high caliber people, like you guys. Like I'm doing, like I'm living things that like I would have dreamed of at like 18 years old. But like maybe it's just that like I orient myself in a way that like I am not comfortable like being stagnant, and I feel I need to continuously grow. Like I need to continuously learn.
This
That's
reminds
a
me-
subconscious unhappiness. You're consciously happy. You're doing all the things that
Yeah.
either society or yourself or whatever it is you think that should make you happy. But on a you level, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt
No.
you, John. Go. If you have something, go.
No, I was just gonna say this reminds me of a scene from a favorite movie of mine.
Goodwill
Good
Hunting.
Hunting.
No.
Oh wow.
Dang.
Yes.
You feeling this
That's
right
good,
now?
guys, yeah.
Dude, I'm
No, this is
on
this
many
is-
levels. I have
Did we
so
just
much
become
to say
best
to you.
friends?
This is a
So
little.
much to say to
This
you.
is like less philosophical, but it's really funny. It's when Ace Ventura, when nature calls, when they come to the temple to find him, and he's like, "I can't go. My mission is here with these people." And then the guy comes in, and he's like, "No, you should go help."
Yeah,
And,
no,
like the
go.
monk, he's like, "No, go." He's like, "I haven't achieved super intergalactic oneness."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, there it is."
Yeah.
Oh, you found it.
Yeah, and then that's what you need. You just need that monk to tell you, "Yeah, Barry, you know
No,
you've
go.
achieved
You've
it,"
done
and
it.
then you'll be good,
You've
and
done
you'll be thrust upon the world.
Yeah.
Maybe this is actually just a giant therapy session.
Dude,
Sounds like it.
most podcasts.
Yeah.
That's what my podcast is. Therapy
But
for me.
here's the thing: is like I kind of agree with where Nick was going for,
I have
and
a
I've
question.
talked to you a
Medallion
bunch
yet.
about it. But like wanting to grow is not. You should always want to grow. Like be a student of your craft. You should always want to grow, be better, learn more. But like, it's not. It doesn't sound like it's as much about growth necessarily as like just not being sassified with where you are.
personal fulfillment.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask. It has
And-
to do with what you said earlier.
And we've had this conversation. So we would talk about.
Okay, guys, I'll go see a therapist.
No,
Appreciate
no,
what
it's
you
not- it's
have,
not
Barry.
that. It's not
No, but
even
we've
that.
talked about this before
Yeah.
too. When it's like you're at the station and you talk about training and like doing these different things is like, or just in life. Like I've had this conversation with you, and it took me 20 years to figure it out for myself. Is like, I want to just enjoy things now, like because I spent the majority of my like 20s and early 30s not being ever satisfied with where I was at. Same as you. Sounds like.
I'm getting there.
But now it's like no, I don't have to constantly be doing like this is where I want to I want to take a moment back and like just enjoy the things that I have. And like, so what's funny is like, so I was reading about stoicism, and I know that you've read about it. I know that
Fred is a huge stoicism guy.
I dislike stoicism.
Really? Don't.
Yes.
Fred, if you're listening, tune out.
No, don't tune out.
No,
because
tune in.
one of the big principles of stoicism is that passion is a waste of time, and you should never pursue passion. It's literally one of the principles of stoicism, and that like joy and happiness isn't good. It just is, and I wholeheartedly disagree with that. You can't just be, it's personal opinion, stoic about everything. You need to have passion in life. Otherwise, that passion in life is what makes you like sit back and be like, no, man, I'm happy right now. Like I'm on the company I want to be on. I have like the friends I want to be. I have the family that I've built. Like, yes, am I always going to want to go jump out of a plane or fucking be on a fucking stack going into a door or something? Like, yeah, in the back of my head, I'm always going to want to do that because that's just like my nature and I can't get rid of that. But like for me, I've gotten to the point where like I'm able to separate the two. And I think that's like a big, for me, again, is a big thing.
Yeah. And you've got a little bit of time and life experience ahead of you before like us, where you have
I'm a little older.
You're a little older, and you have a kid, and you've been in the fire service for a little longer, and you've probably achieved a few things that
you look great.
People still, like
you do have a baby.
some younger guys are looking
Great
to
hairline.
get to that point.
And
So,
I think, and again, like going back to like your initial question, success, and like John, you said it, your goals in life have changed from when you were younger to where you are now, and it is evolving, and I think that it will evolve. But if you, in doing this episode, you obviously recognize that that something's there, like same as I did and whatever. And this isn't like a therapy session on you, but like I think that
I am
like
paying to be here.
I think that if you that is true, about probably the rate of a therapist actually.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Whatever, a bad one.
bad.
Thanks.
I'm a therapist. I'm just not licensed.
Yeah.
No, but like I think that like
Printed out my degree on the printer.
I do have a
over
question for you, Barry, when Will's done.
I think that just acknowledging that is a path towards like figuring it out, and like if you have to acknowledge like those like I don't want to say mental issues, but you have to acknowledge those things that like drive you, and like whether that drive is good or bad or has like a positive or negative outcome. And then when you do, then you can strike the balance, and then you can figure out like the most important things, because you have so much bandwidth. Nobody can ever do everything. You're going to give something up to gain something always.
Do you want to respond?
I agree, and I think the last thing that I had wanted to like really highlight is like that, in the struggle to find like balance and like being present. Like I realized that like the most important team that I'll ever be on is not the team at the fire service. Like I love that, but like they'll be, fire service was doing really well before me. It'll do really well after me, and I'm here for but a blip in time, and hopefully that blip is a positive one versus a negative one. But being the most important team I'll ever be on is my family's, and being as an effective leader in my own house, and like with my partner, and like with my soon-to-be children, and being a mentor for Kaya in life, even though she's not super receptive to everything sometimes.
Just a challenge.
But yeah, no, that's the legacy at the end of the day. Like that's the legacy that I'm searching for, is like leaving that behind. So I guess, but yeah, Nick, no.
So we talked like very briefly when you guys first got here today about like millennialism and how some people like view millennialism and stuff.
Yep.
And I would argue that you, based on everything that I've heard from you, that you're kind of unbalanced. And I feel like a lot of people are unbalanced today because aside from your family and aside from your work, and this touches on what Will said earlier that we really glazed over real quick, and I think it's actually an enormously important point. What does Barry do for Barry? When no one is around, when no one is there, it's that starving artist. Why is the starving artist, if the artist is starving, why does he continue to paint? Because he loves to paint. It's for him or her or them. Like, why are you like what do you do as a hobby, as a secret passion, as a guilty pleasure, as a whatever that helps you? And I feel like I was in the same when I was in the car business. I was in the same boat. I hate cars. When I sold 30 cars a month, and it was coming from a guy who couldn't even open the hood of a car. Like they'd be like, "Can you pop the hood back?" Go ahead, open it up. Yeah, it's fine. And I'd be like at the driver's side door, you know? And I had the mentality in that time of I wanted to be the GM of the car dealership I was working at. Could not care less about being the GM of a car dealership. It just doesn't do anything for me. Like, you have to find, whether it's an artistic passion or whatever, what do you do for you? When you're striving to always be better at one specific thing like work, you're not fulfilling anything that's... Balance is being able to say, like, yes, this is great with my family, and yes, my work life is great, and I'm happy, but this is why the people that, like, are... What did you say? I'm sorry, I'm not a fireman or whatever. What the first rung of that ladder? What is
Privates.
it? Private. There are people, I'm sure, that go into the fire service very young that are privates and retire as privates.
Yeah, they're called the senior men, and they're the backbone of the fire department.
And I guarantee you that if on their retiring day, if you asked them if they had any regrets or if they ended up not being a captain and was their career not worth it, they'd all be like, "Are you out of your fucking mind? I love what I do."
Yeah.
You know? The name, the title, the positions are important, but the title is less important. And I feel like going back, again, not to like overanalyze you mentally, but just since you're like running this show, like bringing up that, like, if I did something wrong, if I didn't hit this, and it's a self-fulfillment thing. Like,
I wouldn't view
what
it
do
as
you do?
like, so let me characterize it like, there's also the entire possibility that I would never even become an officer. Like, maybe I'll just take the test and I'm like, man, that I suck, and like I'm just not destined for it. So I wouldn't view it as like an abject failure.
But what's
But,
your
like,
hobby?
That's
was my
my
question.
goal. What is my hobby?
Barry likes to hang upside down,
drinks
blindfolded.
it.
Yeah. I'm a
likes to
big fan of teeter hang-ups.
Paint
Um,
photos of hairless cats.
Hangs upside
Yeah.
down, blindfolded,
Honestly,
takes
like,
apart
when
his
I-
gun
when
and
I
puts
have,
it back
like,
together before his
when I-
nose
like-
bleeds.
When I have free time,
That's probably true.
like I love, and this isn't really a hobby, but it's like I love to just go for walks in the woods with Kaya and like think about absolutely like nothing and just listen to nature.
That
and
is a
just
hobby.
that's it.
And do you?
I
Okay,
tur-
so then the next
I turn my
caveat
phone
down
off,
is,
which maybe is not great because I could.
are you actively?
but I'm armed because I live in New Hampshire and it's a free state. Anyways,
Are you actively making time to do that on a
conscious-
consistent
yeah,
basis?
multiple times a week?
Yeah.
That's super important. You know what I mean? If that really is, and that's fine. That might be how you decompress or whatever, and like that's your time for yourself. Like if you're a writer, they say even if you don't write anything, you need to dedicate half an hour a day to sitting in front of that computer or that blank page. And if you don't write anything, you don't write anything. But if you're not actively dedicating that time, you'll lose that track. I don't know. I just feel like a lot of people today don't have a hobby. I've asked multiple people. In fact, on my success episode that I did, I asked those two kids that were there on that show. They're super young, 18, 19, have literally the world by the balls. They can do whatever they want. Neither of them had a hobby. And I'm like, that's embarrassing.
I think it's a product of society that, like,
This is a hobby, right?
I guess.
I just literally argued with my wife about this isn't a hobby. It's a...
Kelly, this is not a hobby.
I'm
not a hobby, Kelly.
Not having fun with my friends.
I'm not having fun. I don't even want to be
but
here.
like your
You
work-
think I
your
want to
work
be in
can
therapy
be
right now?
fun.
This is
No.
not a hobby.
But
No,
your
but-
work can be fun.
Yeah. No, but seriously, like, I think it's a product of society in that, like, society more and more demands success as being, like, TikTok famous and have money and, like, all of these things.
Agreed.
That, like, that's what people strive and then forget to take time for themselves. So just in the episode being about balance, I do think that's important. It's doing
No.
something for you.
And
Like,
that's-
John and I are going to go fishing tonight.
Hell yeah.
What?
Some striped
You're
bass.
welcome to come.
Nah, I'm gonna go for a
Yeah,
walk
see?
in the woods with Kaya.
Didn't even. You know why I didn't ask Barry if he wanted to go fishing? Because I knew that would be his answer.
So anyway, thank you for coming to my therapy session.
Are we done?
That's an hour,
Yeah,
50, 54, 55-ish.
Yeah. But the point being, obviously, this is a little bit of a different, like, unscripted episode. But I feel like some of the conversations that I have with my closest friends are probably some of the same conversations you have with yourself. or you have with your family, you have with your friends, or when you're out mowing the lawn, maybe you're thinking about some of the same things I'm thinking about.
I think that's important too, though. It's just
Yeah.
like have conversations with people, talk to people.
I do. You look like you have something you want to get off your chest? Would you like to?
No, I was just gonna wait for you to end, and then I had a really
Oh.
another funny movie
But
quote
it's-
that I
it's
thought
not
on there.
it's
John's
not
like, screw your balance episode. This is lame.
It's not over until we do the question of the day.
All right, well, let me just
You want to do the quote?
put this thing in there.
All
I
right.
was gonna say, Barry, what you've just said is one of the most insanely idiotic
I
things
love
I have ever heard.
this.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything
Wow,
that could
old
be considered
school.
a rational thought. Everyone in this room and our audience is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
It's a Carvel, right? In the Ronnie Carvel in the old school. Man, that's
No.
No, dude, that's Billy Madison.
Hey, get out of the
Oh,
room.
sorry, Billy
'Cause
Madison.
the puppy-
asshole. I was thinking.
Puppy represents.
What am I thinking? I was thinking Will Ferrell when he was in
Oh,
in
man.
old school, and they were like doing the trivia. To
When you
keep
said
the-
old school, I thought you just meant that Billy Madison was
No,
old school.
that's well,
That's
I'm
just-
an idiot.
That's just embarrassing. You can
That is
cancel the fishing
embarrassing.
trip tonight.
Yeah.
That is embarrassing. Wow.
Read it again to Will. I'm just kidding.
So
What's the trivia? Doesn't Will Ferrell just goes off on like a tyrant in the trivia?
I'm sorry, a
Tyrant?
tirade.
A rant.
Yeah. Listen, chive.
Tirade.
chai bagel.
Yeah, chives
Chai
over there. You can shut your mouth.
I forgot.
all right?
I forgot. I forgot about that. Thanks
To
for
answer
bringing
your
it up.
question, when no one's looking, I like to get vanilla chai lattes. They're delicious, and I'm
You
not.
do that
I'm
when
not
people
upset
are
about-
looking, whether they're
Yeah,
looking
no,
or not.
I don't care. They're delicious. Venti chai latte ice with light
What
ice
I
and a
meant
shot
by
of
the no one's
espresso.
looking thing
I'm not
is
hiding
just
the shadows.
whether or not it doesn't. You don't care how it impacts someone else. Is my point. It's you do it for you. is
I'd
what
get
I
a
was
chai
saying.
for someone else. It's a minute.
Not for
I know.
someone
He just
else.
punches random people in the face. I don't care how this feels for you. It feels great for me.
Are you guys ready for the question of the day?
Yes,
We've been
let's go.
waiting.
Okay. So this is more of a this conversation came up yesterday after we got groceries for dinner. It was not prime rib, John.
Good, because you
and
probably would have put it in the air
question,
fryer.
The question arose.
Or done it incorrectly.
We got an ice cream cake for our dear friend Robert Goodwin, whose birthday was recently, and I got him an ice cream cake. And the conversation came to arise when you plan to serve an ice cream cake in the next reasonable amount of time, 3-4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Do you put the ice cream cake in the freezer, or do you put it in the fridge?
I put it on the counter.
I was
let
gonna
it
say
thaw out.
Yeah, depending on how hot the day is.
Yeah, 3 hours is a long time, but if it was like 30 minutes, I'd throw it in the fridge, so it was reasonable.
Yeah,
but
but
does it melt if it's in the fridge? Does the ice cream
Have
cake
you?
melt in the fridge?
Do you buy a lot of ice cream? Those things are rock solid
I
when
was
they
gonna
come
say,
from.
there's
No,
got- yeah,
because
they're
like
like
the
rock
ones that we
solid.
got yesterday were just in a normal like
Let me ask you a
fridge lock.
question.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it threw me off.
Let me ask you a question. If you have ice in your cup and you sit it on the counter for half an hour, is your ice gone? Probably not.
Yeah,
I'm just
I don't
saying
know.
it's a question that came up.
My
And people
guess,
had varying opinions
my
on where
guess,
an ice cream
my guess
cake
is
belongs.
Barry was like, it has to go in the freezer. And somebody was like, Barry, it's gonna be rock hard. And he was like, it has to go in the freezer. Is that what happened?
No, it did go in the freezer.
And what did you want it to do?
I love you, Will. You're the same as me, kid.
I
love
honestly-
love
What
that.
did you-
That's
what
such
did
a
you want
good
the ice cream to
follow
do?
up, dude? That's so good.
I would-
don't know. That's why it's the question of the day.
What
Okay.
did you
Trying
advocate?
No,
to
but
build
you,
a
this is
consensus.
your therapy session, so you go first.
Yes.
What did you want the ice cream cake
yesterday,
to do?
what did you advocate for? Fridge or freezer?
I put it in the freezer.
Yeah.
I made the. Yeah.
If it was 2 hours away, freezer. If it was like gonna be in the next half hour, fridge.
Oh, see, I
But
would
most
argue,
fridges are 38 degrees.
Dude, I'm going.
Have you ever
I
heard
would
of
do
auto?
fridge for a couple hours before,
Yeah,
and then
that's
30 minutes on the counter before you serve it.
That's what I mean. So freezer, first thing in the morning, take it out by
Sure.
10, 12 if you're having it at 2
Into the
or
fridge,
something.
right?
Yeah, right.
And then you have dinner, like when dinner is served or
Yeah.
when the
Let it thaw
main
out for
meal is
30, 40
served.
minutes.
Goes on the counter.
That's when it goes on the counter, and then it's time for dessert right after.
No, you're right. It could go in the fridge earlier. I was thinking on the counter.
Yeah.
The
I don't
counter
know.
half
All
hour
I'm saying
ahead
is,
of time.
if you put a knife in one of those, you
Yeah.
know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Like they are solid,
rock solid, yeah.
rock
Bro,
solid.
like,
some of those
Again, like dump a cup of ice into your sink and leave it. See how long it takes for it
But
to
you
melt.
can't lose because even when it's like a soupy mess, it's still delicious.
Yeah.
So
And if it's rock
Thaw
hard,
it
you
out.
can just heat the knife up. But
These are the compelling life conversations
It-
we have at the firehouse.
it
table.
also depends on
Will's out back with a blowtorch. I'll be in a minute, honey.
No, it also depends. Like if it's like humid and your AC sucks, then
Yeah, yeah.
then
This
you
This was
leave it in the
headquarters.
fridge.
Yeah,
a
it
little
melted very quickly.
Leave it in the fridge a little longer.
So I went from freezer to melted in 10 minutes.
Do you have a crappy
I
freezer?
don't believe that.
Yeah, Bear's just straight up lying to us.
No.
Did you put it next to the oven?
Barry, he put it
put
in
it
the
in
oven.
the oven.
He put it in the oven.
He was like, "Oh God, it's
Fine. You want it to thaw out? I'll put it in the oven.
It's way too
Yeah.
hard. Let me
Yeah.
throw it in
Put
the
it in
oven
the,
for a second." Oh, I got one. I got a follow up question.
Okay.
Have you this came up in a firehouse as well? Have you or do you microwave, like if you have little ice creams or even popsicles? Do you microwave them?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
No.
I'm sorry.
No.
You realize that heats them up.
I'm talking about like for 5 or 10 seconds.
Can you repeat the
No.
question, please?
Have you ever taken like a pint of ice cream
Yep.
or like a little popsicle or something and microwaved it for a few seconds just to soften it a little bit?
Ice cream, yes. Popsicles, you're a psychopath.
I disagree, but
So I don't know if this is I don't know if this is true or not, but like someone says that if you microwave ice cream, it like fucks up the molecules of the flavor, and it's I don't know.
somebody
just
just
repeating-
didn't like
I
it.
think anything you microwave sucks after.
No, I'm talking about
Pizza?
like
Yes.
yes.
I like cold pizza more than
Everybody likes.
Yeah,
I like
because
cold
when you
Chinese
microwave
food
it, it
over,
gets fucking
Yeah,
soggy.
but
Sucks.
ice cream. I'm talking like 5 seconds, and it'll just kind of. So it's not a rock. And let me tell you what, I microwave like the little icy cups, freeze pops, like freezy pops. So
Yeah.
I hate like really hard, crunchy, like when you're like chewing on ice. Just above like slushy level, where it's still like a solid, but like when
Yeah.
you bite into it, it like
I know what you're talking about.
disintegrates.
haven't had one of those in a long time.
Decrystallizes.
And the
kinda.
flavor's better because no, hang
The
on.
molecules
No,
and
no,
that
this
stuff.
is science. This is science. The colder it is,
Mm.
the more your taste buds shrink, the less surface area to taste. The hotter it is, the more you can taste it. It's the same reason spicy stuff is spicier when it's also temperature hot. Just throwing it out there.
Interesting.
Well,
Well,
Yeah.
good learning. Points.
thanks for coming to our TED Talk and my therapy session. Yeah, let us know what you think. If you guys, think think the same things, have the same thoughts, have similar thoughts, have opposing thoughts, we'd love to hear them. No one's perfect. Clearly, I'm not. But yeah, so I'll turn it over to Will to do the official outro, and then John to do the official outro.
Later, taters.
That's a good one.
Is that it?
Same as always, guys. Please, whether you're listening to us on a streaming service or watching us on YouTube or listening on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out. Like, follow, subscribe, enjoy.
Please subscribe. We appreciate it, and it helps drive our
Yeah.
content.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Yep. And if you guys can recommend Barry a psychiatrist, that would be wonderful.
Preferably one close to, I don't know, southern New Hampshire. Let's put it that way.
Yep. With all seriousness, guys, thanks for tuning in. This is just Job Talks Thoughts. No tactics here.
JTT.
Yeah, Job Talks Talks. I don't know. Whatever. Thanks again, guys. Job Talks out.
See ya.
Is that a good one, or is that did that just go?
We might shelf that for ourselves.